What's going on, Jeromes? Daily Jeromes live stream. Back at it again. I hope everyone had a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and whatnot. We got a ton of Qs. Hopefully, we got some As as well. So we just put out our 7-round Vikings mock draft, and it was so funny. So it was a discussion that we had yesterday, and it came down basically to Kwity Paye, Wyatt Davis, or Alex Leatherwood at the top. We went with Kwity Paye, and we got producer Ali sent me a funny comment where someone was like, saw our mock draft and was like, "How come you didn't address both lines? They're so bad." I mean, Kwity Paye plays on the line. It's weird. Also, he's one of the best run stuffing edge rushers in the draft. Cool. Landon Dickerson, he'll be fine after that injury. Probably why he fell to the third round. We'll take that. Aleem McNeil is going to be an absolute stud at the 3-tech spot. Jack Anderson is going to be a people mover at one of the guard spots. So I don't know what else they can do. I mean, you can bitch and piss and moan about the lines all you want. And trust me, I'm leading the charge. The Vikings need to get more stout in the middle. But 4 out of the top 5 picks on both lines, what else are you going to do? Right? So, and also, people don't like Ian Book. I like Ian Book, especially in the 7th round. All right, so got a bunch of Q&A. Hop on in. Let's go. It's here. Darius Taylor. If I told you at the beginning of your Vikings fandom that they'll never win a championship, would you still be a Vikings fan? They're still defending 1969 NFL champions. Never forget that. Look it up. Read a book. Miles, love the content. If the Vikings offered you a position in the front office, would you take it? No. Because then I would cease my ability to talk poop about my favorite team. Schlars, thoughts on Darius Stills from West Virginia? Would be a nice day 2 or day 3 pickup. Absolutely what the Vikings have been lacking just in terms of that penetration at 3-tech spot, because Stephen and Jaleel Johnson and to a degree Armon Watts, they don't stop the run, but they can't pass rush either. So that's just awesome. But yeah, Stills, not about that run defense life, but as a guy who could play that 3-tech spot and just blow up a B gap. Yeah, I mean, Darius Stills, to a degree, his brother Dante as like a later round pick. I think he's a better, well-rounded defensive lineman. But yeah, Stills is pretty special. Griffin Career. One thing that made me happy over the game was Harrison Hand. Would love to see him more week 17. Yeah. Dude is feisty, gets after it. Every time he's out there, good things seem to happen, whether it be on defense or special teams. They need to play him more. Shiver Timbers. Did you see Sean Payton doing the gritty? He's like the physical embodiment of the Packers. Sean Payton is such a douche that I almost respect the level of douchedness, where he's just so unapologetic about it. And of course, the Saints players certainly take their cues from Sean Payton. Max Kallenberg, Jefferson and Anthony Edwards should recreate the Garnett Moss picture. That'd be great. That'd be really, really good. So we'll bring that up. I think every single kid in Minnesota growing up who had an inkling towards sports had this poster on their wall. I need to get a reprint of it. Yeah, I need to get one of those. Put that on the wall back here. Yeah. Actually, no. Note to self. So when you tell yourself that you're going to remember things, you're never going to, because you're not that good. So I have found that if you want to remember something, poster, that write it down immediately. Otherwise, you're absolutely going to forget it. So, all right, what else is next? Here. Hunter Williams, what is up? Skull from Savage, Minnesota. What's up? You have great content. Thank you. I want the Vikes to win against the Lions. Should they go for the win or lose to get a top 10 in the 2020? Well, losing doesn't guarantee him a top 10 draft pick. And also, you've seen from the Jaguars, well, not from the Jaguars to a degree, because they've been feisty every single game except for Sunday against the Bears. But you've seen against the Jets. I mean, the Jets had 2 wins in a row against playoff caliber teams. So, the Jet, you're not going to have players roll over and die. You're just not going to have them quit. Now, if you give up 6 touchdowns to Alvin Kamara, then players on defense will quit, and we certainly saw that. But yeah, guys are not going to go out and trying to intentionally lose and play bad against the Lions to try and improve the Vikings draft pick from 13 to 11, right? So, if they do that, it'll be on tape, and they won't be around to enjoy the fruits of the 11th overall pick as opposed to 13th. So, no, they're going to play to win the game. Ideally, I would like the Vikings to play as many young players as possible, and win, lose, or draw, who really cares? But I swear to everything that's holy. If Shamar Stephen or Dakota Dozier steps foot on that field on Sunday, we riot. And we're really good at rioting here in Minneapolis. Luke Zacher. Is Mike Zimmer really a defensive guru, or has he just had incredible defensive talent for most of his years as head coach? Well, it's always a potato or potato thing, or a chicken or the egg thing, rather. So, I mean, was Bill Walsh an offensive genius, or did he have Montana and, well, he didn't have Steve Young, but Montana and then eventually Jerry Rice? Well, was that it? Well, you could say yes. Virgil Carter and Ken Anderson in Cincinnati we're in the weeds here, but generally it comes to a spot where it's like, does good coaching create great players, or does great players create good coaching? I think it's a symbiotic relationship, because was Chuck Noll one of the greatest coaches of all time, or did he have 17 different Hall of Famers on that defense? I think both are in there. So I think Zimmer had the benefit of having great players, but also his coaching helped bring out the best in said players, right? Because like if Kendricks, Barr, Daniil, Everson, and Linval had, gosh, I don't know. Who should we say? John Robinson, the guy who got fired as Michigan defense coordinator back in the day. Or how about this? You or I coordinate that defense. It wouldn't be the same. It wouldn't be as good. Yeah. Shiver Timbers. Well, actually, you. My defense would be good. Shiver Timbers. I swear the Vikings are the only team that can hold Drew Brees to 0 touchdowns and 2 picks and still give up 52 points. That's fair, dog. That's fair. Evan Cascanaway. Did Armon Watts play the best out of the defensive linemen? We need James Lynch to play more. No and yes. Absolutely. Robbie, University of Nevada wide receiver, Romeo Dubes, one-time outstanding receiver, and admirable return. I've not dug into the receivers too deeply yet, so don't have an informed opinion. Kev Ace, did you know Dustin Crum decided to stay in school for one more year? Yeah, I saw that, and also, well, so the last video we did was before he announced. So I like how people think that there's a magical time machine on these videos. Also, De'Ara King is returning to school, which is weird because Crum and King, I mean, they've played 4 years, but the NCAA, like, rules don't matter. They don't. Miles. I know the interior offensive line and D-line are pressing needs, but holy poop, if Kyle Pitts added this offense, would be nuclear. It's definitely a luxury pick, man. I mean, it would be hard to pass up because the Kyle Pitts and Darren Waller comps are definitely there, man. And Waller is just a matchup nightmare. Even though he's not about that blocking life, I don't care. Like that his speed of that size and Pitts' contested catch ability going up and getting it, man. Patrick Harms, not including Jefferson, who are the top 5 players currently on the team that we need to be pumped up for next season? So, let's see, top 5 players. Dalvin, Kendricks, Hunter, Dantzler, and Brian O'Neill. Yeah. Just missing out Thielen and Harrison just because of age. Randy Moss is the boss. Yeah, Brian O'Neill. So Brian O'Neill doesn't get his due because he was up and down through various parts of the year. Gave up a big-time sack against the Jaguars. I think that stands out. But he blanked Khalil Mack. Like, he erased number 52. Mack got one pressure on him all day. The one sack that Mack got was when they tried blocking him with Irv and Gronklin, the YY. Not so great. Why? Is why I'm asking. And then against the Saints, I mean, Cameron Jordan is one of the best defensive ends in the league. He had 0 pressures against 75. He got 1 sack, but that was when they slanted, and he ended up against Ezra. So, man, Brian O'Neill is one of the best right tackles in the game. He is, and the Vikings need to pay him. So, great. Let's see here. Randy Moss is the boss. Fitzpatrick pulled some Fitzmagic out of his ass in the game on Saturday. Yeah, the no-look face mask. Just dropping the dime against cover 2 to Mac Hollins, the former Eagle. I mean, also, can we stop with the not scoring and just running clock? Because I get it if it's a tie game or if you're up, right? But if it's a spot where you're down and then you're going to not intentionally not score a touchdown, so you're passing up points, and then you're going to rely on your field goal kicker, yes, to make like a 19 or 20 yard field goal, but that's not 100%, man. It's not, and I think that they finally bit that in the ass, as well as the college game. They had that go to. So just score. Josh Dixon. Would you personally be willing to trade 3 first-rounders in order to take Justin Fields or Zach Wilson at 2? No. Closer to Wilson, not Fields. No. Andy Maxfield. Also, how does one pass on Devonta Smith if he's available? That's a lot of fun, man. So Devonta Smith is like Kyle Pitts to me, where it would be an extreme luxury pick. But also, if the Vikings are going to start opening things up, which they should, him as a wide receiver 3, him as a field stretcher, as well as him as a return guy, I mean, how can you pass that up? Right. Also, Devonta Smith should win the Heisman, by the way. Screw Mac Jones. Screw Kyle Trask. Newsrad G. Serious question. Is it me or is football less interesting without our Vikings in the playoff hunt? Well, I guess personally it is what it is. I still think that, the playoffs are going to be super interesting this year, especially with the extra wild card game, as well as now we can look ahead towards the draft, look ahead towards the Vikings revamping thing, building a bully. And remember, the Broncos, they instituted the zone blocking scheme with Shanahan and Kubiak and Alex Gibbs, the legendary offensive line coach, because of personnel. They didn't build personnel into the scheme, right? So instead of just nixing off really good offensive linemen just because they're not a scheme fit, how about you just get good offensive linemen in the building, ideally with great anchors, ideally who are going to win in 4th and inches spots, and then build your scheme around them. And also, I mean, the Vikings aren't outside zone team, except they still run power about 40% of the time, right? So it just bugs me, man. The interior defensive line, yes, no Michael Pierce, but Stephen and Jaleel Johnson were the starters that you had going into the season. And they're the ones that you settled on. And they were getting blown the piss off the ball. 2-3 yards downfield. Also without Andres Pete. Also without Nick Easton. So it's just frustrating, man. Like, honestly, if you can't stop people from pushing you around, you're going to lose, no matter what. I mean, finesse football doesn't win. Just doesn't. Because you could be like, well, what about finesse football with the Chiefs? That's not finesse football. I mean, they run quite a bit of power. Plus, they are pretty stout up front. Patrick Mahomes, whatever. Also, you look at the other side. Look at that defense. You look at Chris Jones. There's a reason why he makes $20 million a year. You look at Frank Clark. They get after on that defensive line. So, other than that, I have no thoughts. No. Lil Choo Choo, how do you feel about Tanner Morgan, quarterback from Minnesota? Did you see the Saints game? Justin Jefferson mocking one of the Saints players. I did not see Jefferson mocking, but that's awesome if it happened. And Tanner Morgan. So I had higher hopes about Tanner Morgan, but very college-y style offense, as well as last year was a Tyler Johnson and Bateman propping him up, and Morgan did not look good this year. No, so he better return to school for one more year and go from there. Randy Moss is the boss. Man, if I would have known the Jets just felt like winning all of a sudden, I almost wish the Vikings would have tanked. It's possible to tank. It's impossible. Dylan James. And is Justin all good? I haven't been able to find an update on him yet. Yeah, it was just a cramp. Miles. If you could only keep one player on this team, who would it be? I picked Jefferson or Hunter. Man. Hunter's got a contract. It's not a big contract, but it's a contract. And you're going to have to pay him anyway. Plus, he's coming off that neck. Plus, he's 26, 25 or 26. Jefferson, rookie deal. Yeah, I guess I would pick Jefferson. Yeah, it's close. But it's weird to build around a wide receiver. Samuel McMullen. I already know the Vikings won't give JJ the ball enough for him to break the rookie receiving record, and it's really frustrating. Well, you never know. It's not like he's up for a contract like they did with Adam Thielen in 2016. One target. One target week 17 against the Bears where he had like 969 yards or somewhere in there. So they wanted to go into negotiations with a 900-yard receiver, not a 1,000-yard receiver. But Jens Harold Claudius. In my opinion, Vikings should draft Quarterback of the future, either this draft or 2022. Looking at the 2022 class, can the Vikings afford to wait? Well, you'll have Pedon for Kedon Slovis from USC. You'll have Spencer Rattler. You'll have De'Ara King. Now, cool. You'll have Dustin Crum. God, you'll have a lot of interesting guys. Let's look. 2022 QB class. Oh, yeah, Sam Howell from North Carolina. Yeah, we don't have a... Hey, Derek Stingley, man. Derek Stingley was the best on that 2019 LSU team. As a true freshman. Get out of here. Let's see here. Duke the Bang Yang. What's the biggest need for the Vikings 2021 considering everyone is healthy and no opt-out? I think you need size inside. I think you need size on the interior offensive line. I think you need size on the interior defensive line, and you need some speed on the outside of the Vikings defensive line. Lily Emma, what needs to change the most this offseason? Do you think they'll cut Bailey? Any predictions what a record would be? Skull. I think they got to rebuild the bully. I think they have to bring in some absolute dudes and some hosses. Enough with this undersized crap. Enough with the movement skills. Enough with the just get guys who are going to stand their ground. Every offensive lineman needs to be Oli Udoh. Every defensive lineman needs to be... Well, there isn't even a prototype there, except for Daniil. So, will they cut Bailey? So he's due like a $2.7 million base salary. Part of that is guaranteed on the third day of the new league year. I actually think they'll hang on to him. I think they'll give him competition in camp. And hopefully there's preseason next year. So I think he'll compete for his job. But if not, they'll just cut bait. Joe Stupka. They'll be 13-3. Joe Stupka. I know. 14-3. Nailed it. Joe Stupka. You think we could see Barr play more edge next year, possibly see a change to a Dom Capers 3-4? Yes. Especially if they keep him. I mean, they'll have to get value on him somewhere. And I understand why they didn't make the shift this year because of the truncated OTAs and limited training camp and preseason. But, I mean, you do have the personnel. I mean, Pierce is a perfect 3-4 nose tackle. Just two gapping that zero tech spot. Goble 92. Trey Lance, Wyatt Davis, or J.C. Horn on board. Who's your pick? Take Lance. Yeah, got to take the quarterback when you have a shot. Griffin Creer. Is there any chance Micah Parsons falls to top 15? The man is 6'3", 245, and runs a 4.4. He's unreal. I mean, maybe teams will just sort of poo-poo his college production because the college production isn't that great. Well, same thing with Jason Webb. There's something about those Penn State guys. I don't know. But if he does, that'd be super interesting. It would be. Where you're betting on tools. I think he would be a phenomenal pass rusher, too, in the right situations. But he does need a lot of refinement. But, I mean, just an absolute jacked up uber athlete. Now, you're hoping that he doesn't end up being like a Vernon Golston, where Golston had all the tools in the world. Or like an Aaron Maben, tying it to Penn State, where if a guy has all the tools but there isn't that much production, I mean, sometimes there's a reason. I mean, Daniil Hunter is the absolute anomaly. I mean, the reason why Daniil had 4.5 sacks in his collegiate career is because he played on an absolute stacked front seven, and he did his job. He was a close-sized defensive end. He played the run. He was a great teammate. He freed up other guys by taking up bodies. He wasn't a prima donna. That's what he did. Yeah. Hey, let us know where we're watching from. We'll give a couple shout-outs. I suppose I can take down the "we're going to be late" thing, right? All right, next up is Stanley Steamer. Fitzmagic and his contract would look pretty good in purple right about now. If Cowboys offer you a 6 for Zim, you pull the trigger. Make it a 3. Eric Normal. In your humble opinion, Andy, has shelf life of current coaching staff regime become stale? If you take away contracts, yes. But the extensions complicate things just because of it. Well, there's going to be a contraction of revenue, pardon the pun, in 2020, possibly 2021. So I think teams are going to be less inclined to fire coaches and GMs that have quite a bit of money left on their contracts. So I think that may be a reason to keep Zimmer employed. Is that a good reason? No, but it's a logical reason, but it sucks. No, if money wasn't an issue, I would be down for clearing the decks. Eric Normal. Gobble 92. In hindsight, how much is the Saints game going to influence the selection of our first round pick, D tackle, D end, linebacker? Well, I don't think it will influence the board, but I mean, if it comes up as BPA as a front seven guy, snatch it. I mean, you look at Washington. So I know the Washington's have a tough go of it, but you look at their defensive line. So you got Chase Young, number 2 overall pick. You got Montez Sweat on the opposite side of first round pick. Ryan Kerrigan, the OG, first round pick. Jerome Payne, first round pick, as well as Jonathan Allen, first round pick. I mean, you just put a ton of capital up front, and they get after it, man. I mean, that's one of the reasons why Ron Rivera took that job. All the talent in house, plus they had the number 2 overall pick. Man. Plus, just the amazingness of getting pressure with 4, even 3, and they're just dropping 7 dudes in coverage and just sitting back and watching that quarterback go down, or he throws up a duck, an off-target throw, and then you just whack that wide receiver. Woo! Come on. More zone. More 2 deep safeties. You can just sit back as opposed to just playing man-to-man because you have to blitz. Oh, Lord. Someday it's going to happen. Next up. A couple shout-outs. Brian Henning, Skull from Coon Rapids. Northern Burbs representing. Purple Rain, Wausau, Wisconsin. What's up? Luke Gillette, Cedar Falls. Glenn Marshall, Rapid City. Is that... So the Rapid City Monuments is the team that played the Gotham Rogues in Batman... The Dark Knight Rises. It's funny. Jack Van Burkham, Jamestown, North Dakota. What is up? Nick Kuzis, Skull from Fargo. What's going on? Matt Adrian, Skull from Shoreview, Minnesota. What's up? Patrick Harm, Cedar Rapids. Kettling, Montana. Roddy McDonald, St. Paul. Let's see here. Jesse Krakers, Skull from Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. What's going on? It sounds picturesque, but I bet you it's like cold. Shane Jensen, Skip from Mankato State University, home of the man Thielen. Mankato State University Community College. I like that some people actually come in incorrectly. Actually. Alan Brumleve, Skull from Southern Illinois, Sissa Saluki. Dave Brueggemann, Skull from Spokane. What's going on, Washington? Oh. Mally Moole, Skull from Duluth. Cop Car 05, Richmond, New Richmond, Wisconsin. Oh, Driftless area. Love it. Let's see. Logan Paulson, Badgley, Minnesota. Let's see. People saying Aaron Jones better than Dalvin. Please. Jason Doxson, Minnesota. Hunter Williams, Lakeville. Brocco Bonehammer. It's a great name if that's a real name. Skull from Mandan, North Dakota. What's going on? Jackson Dozak, Bangor, Wisconsin. That's right. Thanks for coming along. Daily Jeromes Livestream. You guys are the best. Let's go. All right. Next up is Samuel Halverstedt. If Zimmer would leave, could you imagine part 2 of this rebuild? Trading Thielen, Cousins, Hunter, replace him with young talent, Wilson, Pay, Devonta Smith, and Eric Bieniemy as head coach, Skull from Belgium. Well, if Zimmer left, I don't think they would trade Thielen. I don't think that that's allowed under the state bylaws. But yeah, I get the appeal of trading Hunter if you can get top flight value. Would you trade Hunter for 2 1s? I don't know if I would do it, man. I don't know. I mean, especially if it seems like he's going to be 100% coming back. Nah. Abs Abdi. Jaguars secured the first pick. Predict who goes first next year. Well, who goes 33rd is a better question. Actually, if Travis Etienne goes... No, they got James Robinson. Anyway. Creed Humphrey. No. Dylan James. What do you think about Lattimore doing the gritty as Justin was limping off the field? So, Suhan from the Strib, he reported that, but then I watched the video. Didn't seem like that. So I don't know what to think. Like, if he actually did it, then it's really piss poor sportsmanship. But what do you expect from Lattimore? Kevin Ace. If we find a way to keep Barr and Wilson, do you see a spot where they move Anthony Barr to DN and nickel, but strong side linebacker and base 4-3? I think expanding his role would be the smart thing to do. Yes, but also, since the Vikings play about 70% of their defense in nickel, I can't see them keeping Barr and Wilson and Kendricks. Well, obviously they're keeping Kendricks, but 3 linebackers on premium contracts in a 2-linebacker world, unless Barr takes a steep pay cut to keep Wilson, which they could because they're tight. So man, casual. Considering the struggles, should Vikings have seen it coming to hold on to Sheldon Richardson back then, sacrificing the Barr and Rudy contracts? It also seems they underestimated the impact of Linval departing. Well, they had countered Linval departing with Michael Pierce, and also, since they had Michael Pierce, they didn't address nose tackle. Like John Pennicini or Lecky Fodu in the 2020 draft would have been phenomenal. So, yeah, I give him a mulligan on the Linval thing. But, I mean, Sheldon, they were in on Sheldon, except then the Browns offered $12 million a year, and then the Vikings were out. But in keeping Sheldon as opposed to keeping Rudy, let's say, I would have done that. Shiver Timbers. If you're the Jets general manager, what would you do with the second overall pick? Well, if you really are sold on Darnold, I would trade it. And a team could potentially be in on Fields or Wilson to the tune of 3-1s. Like, this could be RG3-esque. Yeah. God, how fun would that be, man? How fun. Nate the Great. If the Vikings were playing at 100% without all the injuries, could they have pulled ahead and actually won? Well, if I'm the Jets GM, I do this if I have assurances from ownership as far as you can get it that, hey, I will be around to spend these extra first-round picks. Vikings pulled ahead and actually won. Yes. Westworld, wouldn't mind an Anthony Lynn Vikings tenure. As like the running back coach, I mean, we have a good running backs coach in Kenny Polamalu, but I like Anthony Lynn. I think he was in over his head. Like, if you want to talk about game management errors, and we complain about Zimmer, Anthony Lynn is worse. He is, even though I like A-Lynn. I do. Like, I've loved A-Lynn ever since Collision Low Crossers. It's a phenomenal book. It's about the 2011 Jets. Yeah. Where's 2010? No, 2011. Shiver Timbers. One of my favorite draft crushes is UCF safety Richie Grant. Oh, because he played with Neville Clark. Nailed it. So much of Harrison Smith in him would definitely be a great pickup if we decide to go safety kind of early. I haven't watched back UCF BYU. I want to see how he did in that game, but he played great in the Cincinnati game, which is intriguing. Jens Harold Claudius. Will Jefferson take the rookie yards record? 110 to go. He's got a shot. And I say screw it. I say no defense. Just like Adrian puts up 297. Jefferson puts up the rookie record, and let's go. Griffin Creer. Do you think we'll sit our starters in week 17? I don't think so. No, Zimmer's not like that. Unfortunately. Max Kallenberg. Just add insult to injury if we beat the Bears. But actually, if say Dalvin or Jefferson gets hurt week 17, Zimmer should be fired. Straight up. Add insult to injury. If we beat the Bears, we would have only needed to beat the Lions to make the playoffs, which is, that's tough. That's tough. R free. Could the Capers hire now end with some being Could the Capers hire now end with him being decor next year? No. God, I hope not. I think he's just too old. Look at him. He's old. He's just actually, is he older than Kubiak? He's got to be, right? Dom Capers was the head coach of 2 expansion teams, which is crazy. Yeah, Dom Capers 70. Kubiak is what, 61? Zim is going to be 65, I believe. Oh, Kubiak's 59. He's a spring chicken. My God. Also, I think Zimmer's going to be a grandpa or something like that. That's awesome. Maybe he wants to go spend some time with the grandkids. I don't know. Let's see here. Ron Swanson, what are your thoughts on Red Lobster's Cheddar Bay biscuits? I mean, who doesn't love them? I mean, they're phenomenal. Cody Kaiser. Would you rather go to Pizza Ranch with Kirk and Zimmer or Manny's with Spielman and Ziggy? Manny's. God damn. It'd be great. Talk to Ziggy about business and stuff. Talk to Spielman about what's it like being Chris's brother. Hey, remember when Chris had 20 tackles against the Bears in like 92? That was awesome. Miles. Who were the players that stole a paycheck on Friday? I think we know. I think we know. Abza Abdi, you recently made a video about some Vikings players who should get the boot, which saves more money, trading them or letting them walk. Well, expiring contracts just don't pick them up. So guys like Julio Johnson, Anthony Harris, Eric Wilson, let them walk. Well, trading is interesting because the cap hit from signing bonuses carries over, right? So that would be the dead cap, which would carry on if you cut them or if you trade them. But if you trade them, even if they have guaranteed money left on their deal, that transfers over to the new team. So whenever you think about cap hits for financial matters, think about when the money hits the player's bank account, because then whatever team they're on, whatever team pays it, that's the team that takes on the cap hit. So the Vikings have to trade Kirk Cousins, even though he's got a $21 million base salary next year. If they trade him to a different team, that wouldn't be a cap hit on the Vikings. They would only have to weather the $20 million dead remaining from his prorated signing bonus. So the $21 million base salary and ergo the $35 million fully guaranteed base salary on the third day of the new league year next year would be on the next team's, the Niners, cap, as they're the ones cutting those checks for the $21 million and $35 million respectively. I don't know where we're going for that, but no. Sam Drusella, just go. I think you should let the young guys play like Stanley if we sign him from the practice squad, or Metellus or BC or Brandel or Lynch. What do you think about that scope? Yes. Everything except for, actually, hell, screw it. Just play Stanley. Why not? Just have him chuck it YOLO. Michael Miller, will we fire Zimmer? Probably not. Also, who do you want as our new offensive-minded coach? I would take Bieniemy. And it is such a lazy take every time someone brings up, well, look at Andy Reid's offense coordinators before. Like, they're all separate. They're all different people. Like, Brad Childress didn't work. It's Brad Childress is an arrogant asshole. Matt Nagy, Doug Peterson seemed to work out in Philly. So, yeah, don't come with me with that crap. No, Eric Bieniemy is a true leader of men, and he'll be phenomenal. I think he's going to Houston, though. Him and Deshaun are going to be fantastic together. Robbie, what is Coach Zimmer's record while head coach of the Vikings? Is it a winning percentage higher than 600? If not, what makes us want to keep him? I don't know off the top of my head. I know he's like the third winningest coach in Vikings franchise history, behind Bud and Denny. And Shung. What is your AFC and NFC champions for this year's Super Bowl? Man. Man, no one in the NFC is good. Or I hate everyone in the NFC. NFC, I guess if the Cardinals get in, I'll root for them to be the Uber Cinderella, except I don't know. I don't really see it. Realistically, God, I don't want to say it. I don't want to say it. Now, give me the Rams, even though Jared Goff has got that thumb thing. I actually don't care at all. I don't think they take that big of a step back with Montez. But give me the Rams and give me the... God, it's hard to pick against the Chiefs. But the Chiefs shown that they can get got. Yeah, give me the Chiefs and Chiefs-Rams. Sure. Let's hear. Joey Pesic. It's crazy to think the AFC is so competitive that an 11-5 team might miss the playoffs. Yeah, they have 4 or 5. Yeah, I think it's 5, 10-5 teams. They all play different teams week 17. So if they all win out, there's going to be an 11-5 team that misses the playoffs, which is just crazy. No, it's crazier than when the Patriots missed at 11-5 in 2008 with Matt Castle, because there was only 6 teams in the playoffs then. T-Rag. Should Kubiak get some of the blame for controversial calls were made this season? If why not? He is ROC. Well, you never really know who has final say. So basically, offensive coordinator calls the plays, but also the head coach has veto power. Now, we don't really know how often Zimmer uses that veto power. Sometimes it sounds like it's never. When JD Filippo and And Norver here is like, well, we should run the ball more, right? But I'm guessing fourth down spots, Zimmer has some input. Man, we should run the ball here. Tyler Newman. But also, I mean, if you look back at Kubiak, take away 2014 with the Ravens. I mean, he's got a pretty conservative style. Look at the Texans. Tyler Newman, out of the 53-man rooster, who do you think smells the worst? I'd have to say James Lynch. I swear I can smell that dude through a TV. Probably Michael Pierce. Although, I feel like beards just stink. They do. That's the drawback of a beard, is that it just accumulates everything, both particles and smells, and then you got a chin strap over it for a couple hours a day for practice, and then in the game. I'm still gonna say Michael Pierce. Jack Johnston. Is Kirk our best shot at Super Bowl in 2023? 2023? No. 2021? Yes. There's a lot more. Daniel Rodenwald. Would you be in favor of canning Zimmer for Urban Meyer swapping Cousins for Wentz? Not together, no. Also separately, Cousins absolutely not for Wentz. No, Wentz is an absolute garbage heap. No. Urban Meyer. So I understand that Urban is a good leader. I do question his collegiate schemes, because you look at Urban's offense. It's pretty similar to the one that's still being used at Ohio State now. It's very similar to is that you, Rona? Very similar to Dan Mullins in Florida with Kyle Trask. So I don't know if that would translate. And everyone points to, well, Pete Carroll is not bad for a college coach, right? Pete Carroll coached in the NFL for 4 years before he even went to USC as their sixth choice. Also, Pete Carroll, defensive side of the ball, his defensive schemes, NFL level. Like, he brought an NFL defense to USC. So get out of here with all this. Every time it's like, oh, well, this college coach could surely make it in the pros. What about Pete Carroll? Pete Carroll was an NFL guy first and foremost. But other than that, I have no thoughts. Pete Carroll, defensive back assistant under Bud Grant. Back in the day. Yeah, the Vikings actually could have had Pete Carroll and Bill Belichick on staff at the same time, but it didn't work. Didn't go through. So, yeah, because Belichick was going to come here in '84 under Les Steckel because, what's his name? He was a Titans GM. It doesn't matter. But no, I wouldn't be down for Urban Meyer. I actually want to see him get into the league, though. Like, say the Jaguars pick up Urban Meyer. That'd be interesting, man. Kevin Ace. Do you see the report that Zach Wilson had character issues? I saw one that said he's entitled brat. I don't know if that's true, but it came from a GM. Allegedly came from a GM. Like, we're already hitting into BS season. Like, so believe none of what you read, and half of what you read and none of what you hear, or whatever. Oh no, half of what you see and none of what you hear. There you go, nailed it. So yeah, I don't believe that at all. I don't. So that's already been rebutted several times. Yeah, I don't see that. I mean, who cares if his uncle's rich? Who cares? I mean, there's a lot of players who came from privileged backgrounds. Like, what about Peyton and Eli Manning, huh? So, no. Miles. I mean, this is already... I'm sure if it actually did come from a GM, which I highly doubt, could this be the GM who wants to draft him? Oh, well, he's got character issues. He should really fall to me. It's no. Every rumor you hear, or nothing leaks for a reason. Like, every single thing has an agenda or something attached to it. Like, no one ever goes to Rappaport or Schefter and be like, hey, I got a hot scoop for you. This does not benefit me in any way at all. Please. It's bullshit. Next up, Miles. What's your unfiltered opinion on Zimmer? Who should be this team's should he be this team's coach? I think he's a great defensive mind. I don't think he's ever progressed as a head coach. I think he is a defense coordinator with a challenge flag. I think that he, to a degree, is a tough love players coach. And so I'm listening to the Bill Parcells biography now. I understand where Zimmer gets a lot of it. I do. But also, I think that Parcells may have been like an EQ, like an emotional IQ genius, like an absolute genius. The way that he managed personnel, he knew how to press buttons and when to lay off to get the most out of people. I think Zimmer just mashes buttons. Like, I don't think there's a rhyme or reason. I think that he is just trying to emulate Bill Parcells, but he doesn't have the the thought process behind everything. Like, he doesn't have that EQ that Parcells had. But I think overall he's a good man. I could see why players would want to win for him, but do I see the Vikings winning a Super Bowl with Zimmer? No, I don't. Atsa Mikkonen. If they won't start Ezra at left tackle, I will be really pissed. I mean, they're wasting him. He's not a guard. He's a left tackle. My God. Green Scholar. Is this the best rookie class of Vikings drafted in the Zimmer era? Is it the best rookie class in Vikings history? I mean, it's potentially shaping up that way. So you got Jefferson. Gladney's hit or miss, but Dancer's solid. Ezra Cleveland's looking good. Troy Dye, sure. Well, I mean, it's really top heavy. So maybe not the greatest of all time. I mean, could be the, well, that 2015 class is pretty good. Yeah. I mean, yeah, Wanham definitely bumps that up a little bit. But that 2015 class was damn good. So Wayne's whatever. But back-to-back, you get Kendricks and Hunter. And then TJ brings it back down. But then you got Diggs. Nah, it's still 2015. Still 2015. Next up is Astrozio. Why are we the most unlucky people on the actual planet Earth? The Cards are going to lose out, and the Bears are the Bears. That is funny. Actually, no. Screw it. NFC, I'm rooting for Washington. I want Alex Smith to be healthy and then just get after it. So Washington and the Chiefs. Oh, damn it. Evan Casconway. You see Daniel Carlson end the playoff hopes of the Raiders if he makes that extra point in the game and goes to overtime. So glad we let him go. Is that true, though? Yeah. I know he missed, but I mean, there's a lot of plays in that game, man. Zaragoza, 44. Which one hurt more, the L to the Saints when Favre threw the pick or the 38-7 loss to Philly? No, I was laughing towards the end of 38-7. And I think a lot of Vikings fans were laughing at the insanity of it, how badly the game went, and just to see how bad it could get, right? The loss to the Saints, I mean, the Vikings were a better team that day because they had 3 or 4 turnovers, and they were still tied at the end in a hostile environment. The Vikings were clearly the better team. Clearly. They would have woodshedded the Colts probably by about 30. Samuel Halverstedt. Cousins, Thielen, first for Watson. Yes. Only Charlie. I am not sure you've talked about this, but I saw your mock draft a few days ago on Catch the Blitz on Instagram. Okay. I'll mock. They took Kyle Pitts in the first round. If they get rid of Rudy, maybe, but it would definitely be a BPA pick. It would be similar. It would be like a diet version of the Vikings taking Randy Moss when they had Chris Carter and Jake Reed. Jake Reed was a 1,000-yard receiver, by the way. Screw it, I'm in. Evan Casconway. Since the Packers have not clinched the 1 seed, will most likely beat the Bears. And the Rams have always seemed to shut down the Cardinals. Should we have an easy win against Detroit? That makes me think held on to Seahawks will be in the playoffs. Yeah, the Seahawks game, Titans game, Cowboys game, all the games. Chris Danny Hansen saying, if BC had just jumped or Eddie Jackson hadn't been so good on that Hail Mary against the Bears. Chris Danny Hansen. Saints defense trying to start poop the whole game. Sean Payton, douche. Ran up the score. Should we? Well, yes and no. He ran up the score. His job is to coach his team. Zimmer's job is to coach his team, right? Should we try to keep bar restructure or pay cut? I'd say pay cut. Build it back up with incentives. Jay Anderson TV. Cut Cousins or fire Zimmer. Fire Zimmer. Zach Farmer. Is Blake Lynch a candidate to transition to safety? Yeah, we're actually doing a video on that. I'd be excited about the prospect. Make Blake Lynch a full-time safety and special teamer. Play him like Jeremy Chin all over the place. Let's go. A robot squirrel. Because if he sticks a middle linebacker, there's not going to be a spot for him. You know? Robot squirrel. Can I be a Browns fan for the playoffs, Andy, please? Sure. Actually, no, I'm going to root for the Browns. Yeah, screw the Chiefs. So, Washington and the Browns. Stefanski versus Taylor Heineke. Let's go. Hawaiian Viking. Marcus Mariota one time. Mobile, hungry, and cheap. Non-emotional wreck like Cousins. Let's go. I don't know if he's going to be cheap. I think the Raiders may hang on to him. I think they may punt Derek Carr. But yeah, I was fully in on Mariota last offseason. Atso Mikinen. Vikings should lose out so Kwity Paye is possible. I think Kwity Paye might be possible anyway. Derp E. Why are the most videos scheduled for 4 a.m. Central Standard Time? Because European fans. I mean, we're not the only time zone, bro. Also, through the analytics, that's when it said that they're best. Aaron Lewis. Do you think Minnesota could get a first from anyone if they trade Anthony Barr? And if so, who do you think? No. Newsrad G. I mean, maybe you get a second, but probably not a high second. Newsrad G. Not sure what feels worse, Cowboys debacle or Bucks robbery. Oh, yeah, I forgot about the Bucks game. Also, which last minute loss stings more, Titans or Seahawks? Seahawks. Because that was just like a slow motion train wreck. So not getting the extra yard on the Thielen end around on third down. Not getting the yard with Alexander Madison. And then watching Russ march the entire length of the field, including the 4th and 10 bomb to DK over Cameron Tiny Dantzler. And then the miscommunication on the mesh down on the goal line. Just, if the Vikings cinch up any one of those 4 plays, it's game over. That one hurts. Andy Maxfield. Even after tonight, I don't think the Packers are legit. Caught a South team off guard by playing them in snow. Constant good field position from the home team and constant phantom calls for the home team. I don't know, man. Something tells me the NFL wanted the Packers win decisively last night. Heavily bet on the postseason. I mean, it's possible. I mean, I'm not one to say that the NFL is rigged, but the calls that the Packers get sometimes, the calls that Tom Brady gets sometimes. I mean, there was no way that the NFL was going to have them miss the dance. A little choo-choo. Do you think Kirk and Zimmer could ever lead this Vikings team to at least a Super Bowl appearance in the next 2 to 3 years? And if so, what do they need to get there? If they rebuild both interior lines, I think that's a big start. Aaron Lewis. I have family members who disagree with starting Jefferson this weekend with the risk of getting him hurt. And he get hit by a bus crossing the street. So I think we just get more reps. Shoot for the. I think that he should shoot for the record. Whereas Dalvin, on the other hand, probably not going to catch Derrick Henry for the rushing title. I know he's up there for like the rushing touchdown lead. So I don't know. Maybe get down to the 1, put him in, bash it in, sure. But yeah, there's really no point to playing Dalvin week 17. Scully, please do a draft profile on kickers. How many more do we have to go? Is that it? Yeah. Sure. Josh Dixon, the Vikings have been stuck in slumber pattern for years. Playoffs and no playoffs, always between 7-9, 10-6. So everything needs to be done changes so we can get a top-notch competing franchise year in and year out. Well, draft and develop your quarterback. And no, you don't have to tank to get one at the top of the draft. Tony Levins, how was your Christmas? And do you go snowmobiling at all? It was awesome. Thanks for asking. And no, on snowmobiling. King of the North, O-line or D-line first round? O-line is ostensibly deeper in this draft, but it would depend on what the board is. Like, if Rashawn Slater is somehow on board when the Vikings draft, you just punch that draft card in. Darrisaw is tricky because I think he's only a left tackle. I mean, just like Ezra Cleveland too. I don't like the idea of any one of them sticking inside long term, so that limits what you could do. Why Davis would be tempting. Leatherwood is tempting for sure, since he could play guard. Yeah. Viking Sports Podcast. I think, that's a non-answer. D-line. Viking Sports Podcast. I think our defense really struggles because we have zero pass rush, yes. Also, I think that the Diggs trade was won by both teams because the Bills are 11-3. I like the Bills fans. They're like, well, we're making the playoffs, so we obviously won the trade. Check back in 5 years. I mean, this is not a 1-year trade. Bills fans are trying to stop the count on the Diggs Jefferson trade, please. Diggs really helping out. The Vikings got really good young talent, way cheaper and coming talent. What do you think? Yes. Time Destroyer Gaming. Should we draft another wide receiver? If yes, could it be Rashad Bateman also for quarterback? I think we should draft Tanner Morgan to keep the two together, bring chemistry up. I don't think Morgan's declaring. Bateman, I have some questions about Bateman. So he clearly struggled without Tyler Johnson taking up a ton of attention. Also, he opted out on the team twice. I get it. It was his final year. Also, the Rona, who really knows? But I don't know. I can't quite put my finger on it, but there's just something that I'm not like 100% in on about Bateman. MJ the GOAT. Would you rather have the Santa who did the gritty when Jefferson got hurt, or Packers to lose by 60 in the Super Bowl? Would you rather have the Saints? Oh, the Saints. Santa. Well, neither, because that means they got to the Super Bowl. How about they get pummeled by 60 in the opening round? Then I'll take the Packers. Jerome Smith. I don't care. Alvin the Chipmunk ain't better than Cook. Damn straight. I mean, I could have ran for 6 touchdowns behind that line. Hairfine. Okay, here's a crazy take, but hear me out. Let's just offensive line, throw out all the money at Thuney and for agency and draft a lineman in the first round this year. Why Davis would be nice. A lot of resources in the offensive line, but our O-line would be pretty nice, son. It would, and I'm in. Athena Smith. How likely do you think Rick Dennison would be fired? Doja Guard also will be a better line. Well, his long-term relationship with Kubiak, I think that complicates things, but I mean, if they have to throw someone underneath the bus, Dennison would be an easy target. Hawaiian Viking. People think we put up 33 points against the Saints, so our defense just makes a few stops to win. But if Zimmer goes up at one point, our offense is conservative and predictable, so we never score 30 points, play as well. Our problem is not only defense. Your thoughts, please, Mahalo. Well, I think Zimmer does have to change things to a degree, but also it's not like he turns down scoring points, right? But I think that he does have to be more aggressive going for touchdowns as opposed to just settling for field goals once they get into range for sure. But yeah, I mean, the offense, if they can protect Cousins, I mean, he's got weapons. They got the best running back in the NFL. They seriously can get after it, but and also, the defense would make things easier on the offense because if you're getting stops, if you're turning it over on third down, making them punt, you're getting better field position. It all works together. MIT 03. If all but one wide receiver on the Vikings depth chart was out for COVID like the Browns and Chisena was that wide receiver, what would the stat line be? Let's see, what's the NFL record for a receiver? What's Flipper Anderson? Now, Chisena would have one catch, but for like 83 yards on a touchdown. That'd be about it. Game of Jones. What are your thoughts on this notion? The zone blocking scheme isn't ideal for the Vikings because the linemen are typically smaller in order to move better. Do you think that creates a big disadvantage in the passing game when guys can't hold up against giant D tackles, especially when the quarterback doesn't have great pocket awareness? Yes. Yeah. I think that it is a trade-off that you live with, but it's a trade-off that the Vikings have been seeking out by drafting these undersized offensive linemen. You look at Bradbury, you look at O'Neal, you look at Ezra. Now, you can work within that framework. I think that Bradbury is a keeper. I think O'Neal is going to be one of the best right tackles in the game. I think Ezra is going to be a great left tackle. But stop dicking around on the interior. Stop it. Just get 2 guards who can't move and cannot be moved by anyone else and go from there. Thorvald Von Johnson. In a previous video, you said that Kubiak runs the offense, but that the decision to play Dozier and not play Jefferson the first 4 games was Zimmer's call inside info, or is speculating. Seth V. Herman. Who do you think has a higher upside, Irv or TJ Hawkinson? Hawkinson. I mean, I love Irv, but TJ Hawkinson is a dude, man. He is. Great all-around tight end as well. Just absolutely getting after it in the blocking, too. Yeah. Pulford Skull. I said this over 10 weeks ago to start Hand, Chris Jones, Zimmer. I would be starting Gladney, Hughes, Dantzler, and Hand next season, and go get a veteran. In on all the rookies, or the 2020 rookies, Hughes should be back as the return specialist. He should. Samson Romaine. Do you think Zimmer saying this is the worst defense ever had is a fairly tough thing to hear for all the rookies. Like, could that have a negative impact on the kids? Well, if it has a negative impact on their self-esteem, they're not going to make it in the league anyway. And yeah, it is what it is. They absolutely sucked. I don't care if they're UDFAs. I don't care if they're late round picks. I don't care if they're rookies. I mean, that you can blame scheme, you can blame talent level, but you can't blame effort. Right? I would be less upset. I would not be upset if they gave everything their all on every single play and then you just got beat. But there were some guys who pretty clearly quit. A loaded guitars. Cardinals lost last night. Vikings are pathetic. Yeah, man, it's rough. Everything was set up. Then the Vikings just sort of gave it away. But that's it. That's the extended Daily Jeromes live stream. You guys are the best. We'll be back here tomorrow, 11 a.m. Central Time, Monday through Thursday. Also, make sure to check out the Teespring store. Code is FLAG. December sale still going on, 19% off everything in the store. Get that. All right, so we'll be back tomorrow. You guys are the best. Skol.